Hello indie game fans, as mentioned in my previous video on the best indie games of the month, February did continue a trend of fantastic releases, so here are some hidden gems that will surprise and delight. We begin with the Souls-like RPG Shattered Tale of the Forgotten King, a hauntingly beautiful entry that is not to be missed. The king of the old world has vanished, leaving a mysterious wanderer to reforge reality, but in the way are your usual assortment of ghoulish enemies. It has a gorgeous art style and, interestingly, platforming in the exploration, but certainly a no-brainer for Souls-like fans. It does seem like a nice mishmash of vibes and concepts from games like Hollow Knight, Ashen, Necropolis and Blue Fire, so if you're into that kind of moody, grim-dark, grey aesthetic, certainly a title of interest. The gorgeous looking puzzle platformer Voyage also makes the list, not the best title since googling Voyage game does bring up Journey instead, which perhaps explains why it is on this list. Our two survivors journey and trek along a post-apocalyptic landscape, seeking answers, but it's a non-violent affair, so you do have the time to breathe in the atmosphere. There is co-op support and should be best with a friend. I do always have to give special mention to developer Spiderweb Software, one of the OG indie developers before being indie was cool, who have been making CRPGs since 1994, where Geneforge 1 Mutagen is actually a remaster of one of their classics from 2001. Some of you might exclaim, how is this a remaster? Since it does still look like a 90s RPG, but if you have any nostalgia for these, highly recommend that you pick this up as well as any of their other titles. Yes, Doors of Insanity is yet another roguelite deck builder, but I do think that it's charming enough to warrant a spot. Developer One Shark has been steadily chugging away since I remember covering their games even when this channel was relatively new, where all their games share a signature look and art style which is fantastic. There's plenty of meta progression systems to keep you playing, and I'll be interested to see how this moves along in early access.
When SWAT gets the call, everything else has failed.
We handle the most dangerous missions.
If you have been looking for a title like Door Kickers but have exhausted that game and a sequel, then may I suggest Hot Brass. Play as a SWAT team and coordinate your approach as you neutralize hostiles and save the lives of hostages. I think the minimalistic approach is clever, using icons instead of character models, although I do think that some people might not like it, but still, very well made and will be of interest if you like this style of game.
We never know what we're heading into. You have to be prepared for every scenario and environment, and deploy the best tool for every obstacle.
Looking under the door. Think before you shoot. Every action can mean the difference between life and death.
But that's why they call us. We're the best of the best, and it's what we're trained to do.
If you have a keen eye and can keep a cool head, then you have what it takes.
I like classic turn-based RPGs, having grown up with your Final Fantasies and Dragon Quests of the world, so of course, Osteoblasts is of interest. It's a smaller experience than your gigantic, sprawling, multi-hour RPGs of the past, but a more contained experience is welcome these days. You play as a skeleton raised from the dead, having to face your mortal enemies in docks. No party-based business here, only a single main character, but there is multiple character classes and multiple endings with an awesome look as well. I told you that the roguelite auto-battler is a growing genre, and a title of interest in the space is Hadean Tactics, where, interestingly, this incorporates deck-building elements into the mix. So really the best bits of modern roguelites if you're not sick of those mechanics yet. Very intriguing mechanically, this is still in early access, so I'm waiting to see what gets added next. I thought that Geneforge's tactics looked a little familiar when I came to know of it, so thank you to whoever it was that said that this is by the same developer of Oral, a monster bumping adventure, so I'm only happy to support this title. Rather than controlling a single hero pushing monsters into water, this is instead more of a classic turn-based tactics title with all the expected strategizing goodness. There are terrain effects and most interestingly, asymmetric unique factions, which did actually remind me of a recent tweet by Derek Yu that game developers should think of fun first rather than balance. If you love factory builder titles like Factorial but want to take it to the next level, then Learning Factory might be of interest. Where on top of building automated production lines, you're actually producing goods and items for sale and have to use machine learning to optimize that process. It's a lot less dry than I make it out to be, but certainly an interesting intersection between a compelling game and an educational title, which is no surprise coming from the developer that made While True Do Learn. I simply think that Minit Fun Racer is genius in design, brought to you by the team behind the Zelda-like Minit, only this time applying that concept to an endless runner. Some clever mechanics like making you want to crash into obstacles keeps things interesting, and in a very nice gesture, all proceeds from this game now and forever will go to charity. I love my puzzle games, but unfortunately, the wider audience doesn't seem to agree, which is why they end up in a Hidden Gems video, where Room to Grow is the pick of the month. Play as a growing cactus who must grow and maneuver within the level, starting off simple but quickly getting head-scratchingly challenging, but a great game to work out those brain cells. The key factor that drew me to Bravery Network Online has to be the art style, where this is a 1v1 turn-based RPG with 15 different characters, where you form a party of 5 and compete in battles. A Steam review said that this is to competitive Pokemon what Rivals of Aether is to Smash, so an indie iteration on the formula that distills it down to the most critical parts. It does have your Elemental Advantage equivalent, but does also streamline some of the more complex EV and breeding systems from Pokemon, instead allowing you to freely manipulate the stats and abilities. While the whole game hinges on the concept of competitive multiplayer, that might be a hard sell for an indie game without a massive built-in audience, so I'm interested to see if this gathers any steam. I just covered cozy life sim titles in yesterday's video, where Lemon Cake is exactly that, having you running a bakery, restoring it from abandoned to abundant. You need to grow fresh ingredients, raise animals, bake pastries and sweets, serve customers and keep the kitchen clean, all with a wonderful, charming art style. This is also the signature look for the developer, who made the equally charming titles Alchemy Story and Bunny Park, so if you enjoyed those, this is not to be missed.
You made it! It's me, Nina. Welcome to Mammoth Forest. Your job is pretty simple. We just need a close-up of this girl near its stash.
One of the most visually interesting titles in recent memory is Nuts, a first-person adventure exploration title where you play as a researcher who is studying squirrels. Set up various cameras in the right locations in order to capture the little creatures where something strange is going on as you gradually uncover the mystery. Of course, this gives off some strong Firewatch vibes, and is in a similar space, so if you're craving something new, go nuts with this.
I hope it's not weird in a bad way. What the... is that what I think it is? Why would a squirrel stash dynamite and matches? What the ever-loving hell is going on?
I have to say, I did overestimate the success that I thought Rustler would have, which is essentially medieval GTA, where you play as a thug in medieval times and get up to all sorts of shenanigans. This trailer shows off a little bit more of the gameplay, where you can see the combat system and get a sense of the humour and tone, but a wacky and absurd title that is perfect if you love open world titles. Still in early access, which is planned for 6 months, with a whole bunch of content to be added, but a great first step, taking the #1 spot. To see more of the big picture, check out these awesome videos, and I will see you after the jump.